I would like for you to imagine that you are in a room with 10 or 20 other people. Nice people, but relative strangers. And then suppose I walked up to the front of the room and I said, I would like to speak to all of you for just a moment. I have some things that I'm not going to be able to take with me when I leave 30 minutes from now. And I'm just hoping that you will all work together to figure out how you can share all of these things in an equitable way um, among yourselves so that everybody leaves here feeling like they've gotten their fair share, no one feels cheated, and everyone walks away feeling great. So would you be willing to help me with that? Oh, thank you so much. That's so kind. Okay, so most of my things that I have with me today are in folders. And this is the deed. In here I have the deed to our home and a couple of timeshare properties. And I'm not going to be able to take those with us. And here in this folder I have the titles to 2 cars. They're both RAV4s. They're getting a little old, but they're paid for, and they both run well. They're very functional, so there's some value there. And in this folder, I have some bank statements, a recent bank statement. And in here, I have some investments. That goes up and down, but there's always some value there. And then, darn, I'm not going to be able to take this with me. And I'm really sad about that because there are some very special things in here. There's some gifts from my husband and from my Aunt Jean and my mother, but I'm not going to be able to take them with me. So I'm going to leave all of these things with you, and I'm just going to trust that you can work it out and that you'll be able to figure out what to do. And I just want everybody to feel like they got their fair share. So do you think that's possible? Well, probably. And do you know why? It's actually pretty simple. Because none of you have ever awakened in my house on Christmas morning. None of you ever snuggled on the couch with me while I read children's stories to you and cookies were baking in the oven. None of you knew my mother, my Aunt Jean, or my husband, so no one would have any idea of the stories or the love that these rings symbolize. And you wouldn't feel entitled to any of these pieces of jewelry that these loved ones gave to me. So that would be pretty easy, don't you think? Well, I do. As a group, you could all decide to just sell everything. The house, the cars, the jewelry. You could cash in the investments. You could cash out the checking accounts and savings account. You could split it all between you equally, and you'd all move on happily, right? I don't see why not. Well, it's likely that you could do that. Now, I would like for you to imagine that these were your things instead of my things. And imagine that the people in the room were your children, or your siblings, or cousins, or nieces, or nephews, or maybe your stepchildren, and maybe all of their spouses, and they're all trying to decide how to divvy up your things. Do you think they might ever have any kind of conflict or disagreement about who would get what? Have you promised anything to anybody? Does anyone think that they are entitled to certain things that belong to you now? What if somebody disagrees and they think they are entitled to something somebody else wants? And what if you ended up in the hospital? And imagine this. Imagine if a decision had to be made about putting you on life support or discontinuing life support. Do you think everybody who cares about you and loves you would have the same opinion? Maybe, but maybe not. And this is why it is so important to me to encourage you to take the time and make the effort to get your end-of-life documents in order. You may be thinking or hoping that everything will just work out. But I can tell you from my own experience as being the executor for my parents' estate and the personal representative for my Aunt Jean that nothing ever just works out. If you don't plan your end-of-life health care and finances carefully, there can be disastrous consequences. There can be damage to relationships among family members that will never, ever heal. So I just want to really encourage you to contact a good estate planning attorney or elder law attorney and invest the time and the money you need to in order to get your most important and basic end-of-life ducks in a row. I believe it could be one of the most generous and lasting gifts you will ever give to your children and to the other people who love you.